It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Dog. Thanks for being with me today as we end another week on the channel. You have arrived on a Friday and I'm taking care of y'all. It's a Masterpiece Friday today because we are going back to music from the legendary American band Chicago, and I am happy that you are with us. So I have previously reacted to music from Chicago only once on the channel, and that was to their song, The Ballet for a Girl in Buchanan, the Make Me Smile suite, and I very much enjoyed that one. I have heard music from Chicago throughout the year, so I'm relatively familiar with the band, but there has been a drum beat for us to get to music from their very first album, which is called Chicago Transit Authority. And at that time, the band was also known as Chicago Transit Authority. So this is going to be side one from their debut album. And it is a landmark album, as I have been reading in about it. They released it in 1969, and it has gone on to become certified double platinum, and it has also been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Back in 1967 is when they formed as a band, and then they signed with Columbia Records in 1968. And by the end of the recording process for this album, they had so many songs in the can that they had finished. They went to their recording label, Columbia, and said, hey, we want to make this a double album. And Columbia would not let them do it unless they agreed to give up some of their royalties. As they were still an unproven act, right? So apparently that's what happened, because we were gifted with the double album that exists as Chicago Transit Authority. And then to add, kind of insult to injury, when they were out touring in support of this album, they were threatened with legal action from the actual Chicago Transit Authority, leading them to shorten their name, and they have been simply known as Chicago since. And I should say, they are still active. This is still a band that is out and touring, and they still have multiple original members of the band with them, and so quite a legacy and longevity for Chicago. On this recording, let's see, Peter Cetera is on bass and vocals, Terry Kath is on guitars and vocals, Robert Lamb is on keyboards and vocals, Lee Loughnane is on trumpet, percussion, and vocals, James Painkow is on the trombone and percussion, Walter Parazater is on saxophone, percussion, and vocals, and Denny Serafine is on the drums and percussion. And I should note that Robert and Lee and James and Walter are still listed as being with the band, although Walter retired from active touring just a couple years ago. So let's dig in, y'all. For our purposes today, I am making use of the 2002 remastered edition of this original album from Chicago. We're going to listen to 3 tunes. We're going to listen to Introduction, and then Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is? And then we're going to Beginnings. So all of side 1 from this classic album. So let's start with their introduction, the very first song off of their very first album. Off we go. Ooh. Great lick.
Hey there, everybody. Please don't walk alone.
Got it.
We're so far from home. So this
You play along.
sit back and let it through and let us work on you.
So this is what we do. Sit back and let us groove and let us work on you. All right, Terry. Terry's got a real soulful voice, doesn't he? Listen to the bass. Peter's ripping it up down there. sequential pattern, and they just unraveled my sense of pitch. What are they doing? Some tritones in there. Okay. Amazing. Well, they're just taking us all around the playground, aren't they? No chord left behind is the motto of this band. Holy crap. Down a whole step. I think they got back to G minor, which would make this an F chord. Up a half step? And a lovely trombone lick here. Up a half step again. Now trumpet. So they're introducing the members of the band, the instruments too. It's kind of a guided tour through the instrumentation that they have. Just moving by chromatic half steps down in the bass in that last little section. Circle of fifths. Still getting faster. Up by a minor third. And a half step, I think. Now a guitar solo, so we get to see and hear that. I'm really not familiar with this as we're listening. But it just, no other band that I know of can make these sounds. You know, if you would have asked me, who is this? I'm like, I know them. Chicago. Another minor third, I think.
Now we put through the changes and turned around the mood. We hope it struck you different. Hope you feel moved. Forget all of your troubles as we search for something new and we play for you.
That's cool. take my money. Wow. Well, I mean, think about it. It's the late 60s. You're a brand new band and you want to announce your presence with authority, and you come out and say, here's an introduction, y'all. I mean, come on now. Towards the end there, now we put you through the changes and turned around the mood. We hope it struck you different and hope that you feel moved. So forget your troubles as we search for something new and we play for you. I love it. I absolutely love it. What a great way to think about introducing such a unique band. I mean, they're all great players, right? And you know, they've kind of got a rock sensibility. They've kind of got a jazz sensibility with all of those chords and changes that they've got in there. It's not your straight ahead rock and roll, you know, and it's got the brass in there. It's just really lovely. Awesome stuff. So let's move on to the second tune. Does anybody really know what time it is? And this one I've heard several times over the years, and so I'm pretty familiar with this one. So let's take a look and see if I can figure out anything new with it. This one is composed by Robert Lamb, and it goes like this. Here we go. Robert is the keyboardist of the group, but I don't remember this as an introduction. Well. Some crunchy voicings for sure, right? They're all like seventh chords, but I think with added notes in them. That I know. Well, boy, it's been a long time since I've heard this. 1 and 4. Great trumpet over the top of the changes.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, I said, does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care?
How great is
I
this?
can't imagine why. We've all got time enough
Because
to
now they're
cry.
showing off all of the harmonies too,
I
right?
was walking down
And a
the
different
street
singer.
one
So you get a
day.
different lead singer for the second song on the album.
She lady looked at me and said her diamond watch had stopped cold dead. And I said, does anybody really know what time it is?
It's G, I think, and then up to C.
If so, I can't imagine why. We've all got time enough to cry. And I was walking down the street one
Down to subtonic and then flat 3, then flat flat 6. So they're going back and forth between flat 3 and flat 6 here. Chords from the parallel minor key. Time it is.
Does anybody really care? If so, I can't imagine why.
I know Peter Cetera is a really good singer. I don't know his bass playing as much. I'm really enjoying his playing on this. Trombone action at the end. I need to listen to these guys more often. They're so much fun. It's been I think more than a decade since I've heard that, for sure. Wow, what a great tune. I found a quote from Robert Lamb about this, kind of the inspiration behind the song. He says, "I've always been intrigued with the idea of time and how we attempt to keep track of it. I talk in other songs about crossing over into other dimensions on any given day, but in the song, Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is? It's simply a recounting of an experience I had as a teenager." Well, that's cool. He says where he asked somebody else what time it was, and the person said, "Does anybody really know what time it is?" Going for the big picture, right? Is time a construct? Is time, time is relative, right? So that's a really fascinating thing. Off we go to another Robert Lamb song, though, y'all. We're going to go to a song called Beginnings, and this is the last song on the first side. And I think I have a recollection of this, mainly like when I look at the lyrics, I see a whole lot of iterations of only the beginning at the end, and that I think I have a recollection of hearing. So let's take a look at Beginnings from Chicago. Off we go. They love their seventh chords. Nice. I think that's an A. A major 7.
I'm with you. It doesn't matter where we are or what we're doing. I'm with you, that's all that matters. Time passes much too quickly when we're together laughing.
And they're just moving keys. This is in a different key now than where they were. Still doing kind of 1 and 4. I think they're down a step. It's great. Mostly I'm silent. When I'm with you, it doesn't matter where we are or what we're doing. I'm with you, and that's all that matters. All right. So it's the start of a relationship now.
When I kiss you, I feel 1,000 different feelings.
They're hitting that as an anticipation rhythmically.
Over my body, and when I feel them, I quickly tried it
sounds like they've overdubbed some of the brass parts as well. It doesn't sound like one trombone, it sounds like a few down there, you know?
Mostly I'm silent, silent. La 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 la.
I think we've all been there too. When I kiss you, I feel 1,000 different feelings, the color of chills all over my body, and when I feel them, I quickly try to decide which one I should put into words. Mostly I'm silent. Overwhelming. The beginning of what you can tell is going to be a long-lasting part of your life, you know? And for fans of the band, back in 1969, you've got 50 plus years with these guys. You know? Great drumming, just great ensemble playing.
Just a star. Yeah, I got to get you in my life, mama. Got to get you next to me.
That's flat 7,
All in the beginning.
flat 7, flat 6, but it's like a 9 chord, a major 9 chord. Cool. Trombone and then trumpet. Just big fat chords. Nice. It's just full of energy. It's full of optimism. This is what was in my head. So this part of this song I remembered. I think it's an A, down to a G, down to an F, up to a G, then up to an A. Just those 3 parallel chords. And it's like an A, and then it expands a little, the voicing expands, and then we get an even expanded, more expanded F, and then back. And back is how I'm hearing it. All this percussion. This makes you wanna dance. And the percussion players aren't done. There's a decent amount of time left. Is this all that's left? Well, the rest of the band's taken 5, but the percussion players are still at it. I don't remember this long of an outro either, especially on the radio where I think I've heard it. Almost becomes a different tune, doesn't it? we would call these instruments of indefinite pitch. They have pitch, but not really. You know, it's not like I can say that's an A or whatever. You know, it's just they have pitch, but it's indefinite, and then it fades out, and that's side one. Well, we made it, and I'm actually quite pleased that I ended up deciding to do this. I've been shying away from doing music by Chicago because I'm pretty familiar with their songs. But as far as this album goes, I was pretty familiar with Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is? But the other two were largely unknown to me. And I really, when we go back to the Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is, the opening piano solo, I don't think I've ever heard before there. And with this introduction, I don't remember hearing that real long outro at the end, but there you go. What a way to kind of burst on the scene. You know, this is a band that has reinvented themselves several times over, but you know, they've always been, I think, a leader in popular music, in rock and roll especially, and they've got so many tools in their toolbox to play with. They've got multiple wonderful vocalists. They've got so many different players that they can go to for solos. They gave us trombone solos. They gave us trumpet solos. We had a great saxophone lick. We had guitar solos that were great, and different colors from all of the vocalists. And it just adds to this, everybody come join, it's going to be a party and we're going to have a good old time. And at the end of the day, that's what rock and roll is all about, isn't it? It's kind of letting your hair down, saying we made it. We made it to the end of a day on a Friday, and it's going to be okay. The weekend's coming, and let's let our hair down and party a little bit. So I am happy to have been part of your Friday partying, or letting your hair down, or so to speak. So fun. Great stuff from Chicago. Chicago Transit Authority, side one from the classic 1969 double album, the debut album from this band. We've been listening to Introduction, Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is, and Beginnings from Chicago. Thanks, y'all, for hanging out with me. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week on more editions of The Daily Doug.